Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel, the channel you need to learn all the professional workflows. Today, we are learning how to design this Instagram social media visual. So let's roll the intro. Hey guys, welcome back. Quick introduction before we start. For those who don't know me, my name is Said Hassan. I'm a senior graphics designer, and this channel is dedicated for the beginners and midweight designers to learn all the professional workflows and techniques that are used by professionals in the industry in everyday work, and helping you creating your awesome portfolio to get your first job. So, I thought to share the techniques I have learned over the years, and all that said, and without further ado, let's start our lesson for today. Now, this is the final visual, guys. Let's hit Ctrl plus N to create new document. We are creating this for Instagram, so the width will be 1080 pixels, height will be the same, resolution will be 72 pixels per inch. For anything that will be displayed on a screen, color mode will be RGB. Let's hit create. Okay, guys. First of all, check the descriptions for all the assets I used for this visual so you can follow along and do some changes here and there so you can add this artwork to your portfolio. Okay, let's get the first image of the main subject. Right click, open with Adobe Photoshop 2021. Let's click this lock icon here to remove it. Go to properties panel. If you can't find it, you go to window, search for properties and click. In the quick action, let's hit remove background and let's see how it will do. I think it have done a semi-good result, but we can live with that and we can do any other changes we want halfway through the visual. Let's convert this layer to smart object to have all the resolution. Right click, convert to smart object, wait for it to load, hold Ctrl plus C to copy it, get back to the original document, hold Ctrl plus V to pasted the layer, Ctrl plus T for transform, hold Alt and click and drag from one of these corners to scale it from the center. Again, scale it again, yes. I think this is good for start. Hit enter. Let's change the name of this layer by double clicking on the name and let's call it main subject. I think I misspelled it, but I think it was okay. Now let's add square in the back. Click U for shape tool or click this icon. Let's click and drag to have a square, move it under or below the main subject layer, give it a color closer to the orange color of her earrings. Click OK, Ctrl plus 0 to see the full visual. Choose the rectangle layer and the background layer by holding Ctrl and choose the two layers. V for move tool. In this top panel, we can do this and this to center the rectangle in the middle of the visual. V for V tool, maybe move it up a bit like this. I think it is good. Now let's add some dimensionality to this square. Let's create new layer. Hold Alt and click to create a clipping mask. At the icon of the rectangle, hold Ctrl and click so we can have the selection of this layer. Now choose the new empty layer, G for gradient tool, click and drag. Okay, if you don't have this in black and white, after clicking G for gradient tool, click here, go to the presets, basics presets, and choose the black and white. Now Ctrl plus D to deselect. Okay, change the blending mode of the new layer to soft light. Yes, I think this is good. Now what we can do next, We can add the text. T for type tool. One click. Right party. Yes. I hope you are having some good parties in this summer. Yes, I think this is good. Okay. Now, I choose the font called Billy Ohio. I think it's a free. You can search on the web. Okay. I think we should group this all together. Choose the first icon, hold shift and click the last layer. Control plus G to group, Control plus T for transform, hold Alt and make it smaller a bit and move it up. I think this is good. Maybe I think the main subject should be a bit bigger. Control plus T, make it bigger to have some of her hair outside of the frame. Maybe again make the square a little bit smaller. Hold Alt, click and drag. Yes, I think this is good. Okay, now let's click the main subject. How to choose the layer you want without scrolling in the layer panel. First of all, click V for move tool. Make sure that auto select here is unchecked. Now go to the subject you want to choose, hold Control plus click and it will choose it for you. Let's try it again with the rectangle in the background. Hold Control and click, it choose this layer. Now again, let's choose the main subject layer by holding Control and click. Yes, I think let's position it better. Maybe this is good, maybe a little bit bigger. Yes, I think we can live with that. Okay. Now let's reposition the party. I think this is good, maybe a little bit smaller like this. Yes. Okay, let's create the background. Choose the background layer. Click here to add a new smart filter or a new smart adjustment layer. No, it's just called new adjustment layer. Let's choose solid color. Now, which color should we choose? I think we should go with a complementary color to the orange, which will be maybe blues. Okay, let's choose a lighter version of this blue. Click OK. Let's create a new layer by hitting this plus icon. Again, G for the gradient tool. At the bottom left corner, click and drag. Yes. Change the blending mode to soft light. Let's see before and after. Yes, it has a illusion that the light is coming from this direction and we have some shadows here or darker area here. Now let's add some texture to this background because texture is always good. Now let's choose the color fill layer, go to fill, place embedded. Again guys, all these assets will be in the description. Choose what we can choose now. First choose this image, hold Alt, click and drag to scale it from the center, enter. Change the blending mode to multiply. Yes, reduce the opacity a bit. Yes, I think this is might be good. Again, the second texture file, place embedded, choose the other texture, hold Alt, click and drag, enter. Change the blending mode to multiply, reduce the opacity to around maybe 45%, will look good. Now we want to mask some of the areas here. Okay, how we are going to do this? Let's check the main visual or the original visual we did and let's see. Now, do you see this guys? See this? The mask around the edge of the text layer is matching the text layer. So let's create that. How we can create that? Okay guys. Okay, now let's group all this in one group, the main subject and the rectangle behind. Yes, and let's call it main subject or main. Just main is enough. Okay guys, let's choose the party layer again by holding control and click on the text layer. Make sure that auto select is deselected or unchecked. Now guys, it may be easier to you to just go to the layer panel and click and choose the party layer or the text layer, but when you have a large file in Photoshop, it will be like a nightmare to find the layer you want. But this technique is used by professionals every day to save time and work effectively and efficiently. Now, guys, the problem is we want to have the mask follow the edges of the text layer. So how we can do it without doing it manually? Okay, now guys, hold control and click on the T icon here and on the text layer. Now we have an active selection of the text layer. Okay, but we don't want this exact size. We want it expanded a bit. How we can do this? By going to the top menu here, select, modify, expand, and let's expand by 6. Hit OK. Now the active selection is expanded. Okay, let's choose the main layer and hold Alt and click the mask button. Yes, we have this tab. Or what if we have like we don't hold the Alt button? So we have the selection active here. We can click the mask button. It inverted the masking. Now we want the mask the other way around. How we can fix this? By holding Control plus I. Yes, and it is inverted, but we have this extra. How we can remove it? Simply we have to do this by hand. How? Choose the mask B for brush tool or choose this icon. The foreground should be black, so we can double click and choose black. Or the techniques used by professional is that what if we have like this maybe red in the foreground, okay, and whatever color in the background. How we can reset this to the default, which is black and white, by clicking D. Yes, it is converted to the original color, which is white in the foreground and black in the background, but we want it the other way around. We want the black to be in the foreground, so we can click X. Yes, now we have the black color in the foreground. Now B for brush tool and start, right click, choose the size you want, the hardness we want it to be 100%, the opacity would be like 100%, the flow 100%, and start masking. Yes, let's mask all this area here, and we don't want this area also, this area, and maybe this is good. Okay, now I think this is good. We have done a good job. Now guys, before we continue, if you like this type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm uploading new original content more than 3 times a week. Now let's continue. What we have to do now, let's add the elements in the background. Okay, choose the main group and file, go to file, place embedded. Let's start with this palm tree leaf. Make it a little bit smaller by holding Alt and click and drag from any of the corners. Move it here. Okay, press enter. Move it above the open. First of all, open the main folder. Click and move it below the main subject layer. Yes, this is good. Control plus T again for free transform. Rotate it, position it however you want. Maybe this is good. Make it a little bit smaller. Now we want to have a blue color closer or similar to the color in the background to contrast the orange color of the square. How we can do this? Hit Control plus U. We have this hue saturation panel. Click colorize and change the hue to reach this blue. color. Yes, I think this is good. Maybe increase the saturation a bit, play with the lightness. I think we have a good value here. Press OK. Now we want to duplicate it. Hold Control, click and drag the layer. It is duplicated. Control plus T for transform, rotate it and position it here. Maybe scale it up a bit. I think it has a good position. Hold or click enter. Now let's add other elements. File, place embedded again, choose the flower. Okay, maybe rotate it like this or maybe like this. Okay, hold Alt and scale it to scale from the center. I think this is a semi good position. Yes, I think this is good, but we have this area we don't want, so we will have to mask it. Click the mask icon, B for brush tool, make sure the foreground color is black and start brushing. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Yes, like that. I think it is good. Maybe rotate this a bit. Again, how to choose it? Control plus click. It have chosen the layer. Control plus T for transform. Maybe rotate it a bit to have something coming out from here. Maybe I think this is good. Okay, and maybe position this down here. Okay guys, yes, I think this is good. Now we want to duplicate this layer. How we can do this? Holding Alt, click and drag. Hold Control plus T for transform, rotate it and move it here. I think this is a good position. Yes, I think. Press enter. Now we will go to the mask, B for brush tool. Again, make sure the foreground color is black and start brushing. Yes, we want to remove this extra areas and I think this is good. Now we want to add some elements here around the corners to add some depth to the visual. File, place embedded, choose the palm tree. Okay, hold Alt to scale from the center, make it a little bit big, rotate it and have this here, maybe a little bit scale down, a little bit rotation. Yes, I think this is good. Okay, now let's give it some color closer to the background again by holding Control plus U to have the hue saturation. Okay guys, let's colorize it again. Let's change the hue. Maybe around this is good. Okay, change, increase it, maybe reduce or lighten. I think we would go with +2 in the lightness. Okay, Control +0 to frame the full visual. Now we want to add some Gaussian blur to this. How we can do this? By go to the top menu, choose filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and let's choose a value. Maybe I think 1.5 is good. Okay, I think it is too small. I think we have to scale it a little bit bigger. Yes, and move it. Yes, I think the main subject is too big and we have to do something about it. Choose the main group, Control +T for transform, make it a little bit smaller. Now it is moving with the mask. Okay, open the folder, choose a mask. Okay, we didn't choose the text layer, we just have to choose the text layer. Okay, move it above the main group, choose the two layers by choosing the first layer, hold Control, click the other one, Control +T for transform, make it a little bit smaller. I think this size is good, maybe a little bit up. Okay, now we want to have a palm tree on the other corner here. Choose the palm tree layer by holding Control and click it, choose air, hold Alt, click and drag, Control T for transform, rotate it, move it here. I think this is good. Okay, maybe reduce some opacity. Yes, I think this is good. What those elements have done for us in the visual. We added some depth to the visual by creating some blurred elements in the foreground, and the main subject will be in the middle ground, and the background with some texture will be in the background. Okay guys, now we have done the most of the work. Now let's add a little bit details. Click T for the type tool, click once and write party date. Now if you want to have some details to this visual, okay, how we can do this? First of all, change the font to maybe the standard Helvetica. Yes, regular. Control plus T for transform. Rotate it, hold shift to rotate 90 degrees. Hit enter. Control plus T for transform. Scale it. I think this is good. Write whatever detail you want here, guys. Maybe I think the color is a little bit saturated, so let's change the color from this color icon here. Maybe make it a little bit saturated. I think this is good. And add another detail on the other corner. Holding Alt, click and drag to duplicate the layer. Okay, maybe we can add here website. Yes, website. I think this is good. Okay, now let's add the logo here, whatever logo you have now. Okay, let's make it all caps. Your logo. Okay, let's change the weight of the font to maybe bold. I think this is good. Now guys, tell me what you think of this visual and whether you are not adding this to your portfolio to get your first job. Thank you for your time. If you have anything to share with me in the comment section, please do not hesitate. Thank you for your time. Have a good time and bye bye.